Discover the inspiring transformation, how a homeless girl healed a billionaire's daughter. You won't believe what happened next. Lily clutched a worn sketchbook to her chest, the design for her latest invention sketched on a grease-stained napkin. The cold wind whipped through the alleys of Chicago, a chilling reminder that dreams were a luxury she couldn't afford. A space heater, a mobile water purifier, something to alleviate her daily survival. It was all vivid in her mind's eye. How could she show the world? How could she convince anyone of her ideas when they barely acknowledged her existence? Every night on the streets was an echo of longing, her resolve forged in solitude. But beneath that resolve, doubt loomed. Did she dare to hope for more? The soft glow of the diner sign tempted her. Scraps of food were welcome, they fueled her dreams. But the diner was also a reminder of the world Lily didn't belong to. Each meal came with a reminder of privilege she would never experience. She pressed her fingers against her sketchbook, warmth spreading from the touch. Yet, every line she drew seemed to burn brighter with despair. Could she ever escape the grit of survival? The face staring back from the napkin was not one transformed, but mired in uncertainty. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Meanwhile, Ivy stared vacantly into the gilded mirror, confusion reflected back at her. The charity gala, meant to celebrate awareness, was now a cacophony reverberating in her soul. An accident had stolen her sense of control, a mean, gnawing reminder of her frailty in a world that demanded perfection. How could she return home to her father's entrepreneur empire, to masks of smiles when all she felt was broken? Each adjustment of her hair and dress, meant to create an image, only served as a further burden. Neglect was tempting, embracing vulnerability seemed insurmountable. When she found herself wandering the streets, she was not prepared for the warmth of Lily's fierce eyes. That spark ignited something dormant inside her, the raw honesty that settled heavily in her chest. But the contrast was jarring. As they talked, social structures pressed in on them like an iron vice. Would it be enough to shatter Ivy's polished world? Would she betray what she had always known, or would she cling to it with an iron grip? Here was a girl who knew struggle intimately, and Ivy could feel her resolve dissolving under the weight of guilt. It wasn't enough to simply offer help. With each moment that passed, the chasm between them widened, a mix of desperation and determination swirling in the thick night air. Lily began to question whether Ivy was genuine or merely playing her savior role. But every anguished moment brought clarity, revealing an uncomfortable reminder of reality. The walls both girls faced were laden with expectations, judgments, and untold biases. Would Ivy dare to stand against her family's legacy, their unrelenting grip on social standing? Was Lily ready to trust that just because someone wore silk doesn't mean they didn't bleed? As fear wrapped around their budding connection, a revelation hung heavy on Ivy's heart: genuine friendship requires vulnerability. There was no simple answer to their complicated lives, but each faced the struggle of identity painfully exposed. Just as hope began to flicker, a quaking question remained: could they navigate the shadows of their worlds together, or would their differences shatter the fragile bond forming between them? The night would soon demand answers neither was prepared to give. Lily's palms gripped the edges of her sketchbook tighter as she watched the diner door swing open. A group of wealthy patrons, laughter spilling out like champagne, reminded her of everything she lacked. Each chuckle felt like a taunt, cutting deeper, yet within the pain, a flicker of rage ignited. Why was she always the one buried under the weight of others' indifference? Right then, she made a decision: she would no longer allow her dreams to be overshadowed by the world's expectations. As she stood to leave, she caught a glimpse of Ivy through the glass. The fraught connection they'd shared loomed large in her mind, vivid and relentless. What did it mean, this fleeting moment of understanding? Did Ivy see her as more than a charity case? Autumn leaves rustled beneath her feet as she stepped onto the pavement, determination fueling her steps. Meanwhile, Ivy was struggling with swirling thoughts. The lavish gala she attended had lost its luster. Her father's voice echoed in her head, "Your worth lies in your alliances." It pained her to admit that for years, she had measured herself by the jewels she wore, the connections she cultivated. But after that encounter with Lily, she questioned everything. Was she more than just a reflection of her family's prestige? With an impulsive fire igniting within, Ivy ended up on the streets too, drawn by a need to find Lily again. Where was she? Turning every corner, Ivy's heart raced not with fear, but with hope. She didn't just want to help, she craved authenticity, a reality that was untouched by the glitter of her upbringing. When they met again under the harsh glow of a flickering streetlight, tension filled the air. Lily's skepticism was palpable, draped in shadows and guarded by years of disappointment. "Why are you here?" Lily's voice cracked like glass. Ivy felt the weight of judgment drape over her. She took a step closer, hoping to bridge the distance. "I need to understand," Ivy replied, voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "I don't know how to carry the weight of my life. I thought I could support you, but I'm realizing I need to learn from you too." Lily hesitated. She had spent a lifetime counting on no one. Trusting someone from Ivy's world felt alien, and yet, warmth began to spread through her chest, a nascent hope that this could be the partnership they both needed. Each girl stood at a crossroads. One had always been denied a voice, the other perpetually silenced it. What lay ahead was unclear, but both sensed a challenge that would push them beyond their comfort zones. The question loomed large: could they work together to amplify their voices rather than diminish them? Would they dare to pursue a joint vision that reflected their truths? A spark of ambition flickered in Lily's eyes. If she could harness Ivy's resources and connections, perhaps they could create something impactful, something that could redefine both their lives. The notion exhilarated her, igniting a plan. She began sketching a prototype for her mobile water purifier, her mind racing ahead, wondering how to incorporate Ivy's design experience. As Ivy watched the passion unfold, a haunting question echoed in her heart: was she ready to fight for something beyond herself? The mounting pressure of her family's expectations tightened its grip, but in this moment, with Lily's fierce determination spilling over, the answer began to crystallize. Together, they faced a future stitched with uncertainty, yet a powerful new alliance emerged, a homeless girl clutching dreams too big for her world and a billionaire's daughter craving authenticity. But as they turned to each other, determined and reborn, shadows of doubt and external pressures loomed ominously, waiting to challenge them. And somewhere in the cacophony of their intertwined fates, the core question lingered: would they succumb to societal barriers, or rise against them, together? The moment to choose their destiny was imminent. Lily's sketchbook lay open before her, a blank canvas inviting the fervor of her imagination. The outlines of her mobile water purifier danced in her mind, vibrant and insistent. Each contour represented not just a function, but a hope, the kind of hope she had buried beneath years of doubt and poverty. As the cool breeze ruffled the pages, a small ember of brilliance ignited her creative spirit. She glanced at Ivy, whose expression oscillated between admiration and uncertainty. "Can you help me with this?" Lily asked, not just as a request but as a challenge. Every fiber of Ivy's upbringing had taught her to mold ideas, yet standing next to Lily, she felt raw and exposed, her privilege stripped down to its core. "Let us bring it to life," Ivy replied, resolute. The idea of working together sent an electric pulse through the air, a shared commitment that collided their worlds in unexpected ways. Embarking on this project called for more than creative synergy. It demanded honesty and collaboration, a delicate dance neither had fully mastered. They spent the following days sketching ideas at the diner, huddled in a corner booth with coffee cups forever replenished by the kind waitress who seemed to understand their quiet intensity. Lily demonstrated the mechanics of her design. It needs to be simple enough to build, yet powerful in its impact. People shouldn't struggle to access clean water. Ivy listened closely, but deep down, the whispers of her upbringing clawed at her thoughts. What if, when we reveal this, people only see us an affluent girl and a homeless one? Will they miss the purpose? The depth of Ivy's vulnerability astonished her. Those years of societal pressure had forged layers of fear, and yet here she stood, naked before Lily's bold vision. Lily raised her brows, a flicker of admiration breaking through her constant skepticism. You have skills, I need you to lend them, not hide behind them. The urgency behind her demand pushed Ivy to confront the duality of her existence. Moments before, she had been wrestling with her identity, and now she felt an unexpected surge, becoming the architect of something larger than her desires. The urge to succumb to societal expectations wrestled against the burgeoning need to redefine herself alongside someone capable of redemption in a world that often ignored the marginalized. As they delved deeper into design, a nagging doubt nestled in Ivy's mind. What if she fell short? Determined to prove herself, she immersed herself in the process. She researched engineering principles, reaching out to contacts, while Lily pushed the creative boundaries, bringing sketches to life. They shared sweat and laughter, and the bond forged between them began to feel like a lifeline in murky waters. Yet Ivy's internal conflict festered. She began to question her past alliances. During dinner at her family's mansion, she noticed how trivial their discussions felt compared to the profound journey she was undertaking with Lily. Still, her loyalty hesitated. Would her family accept this new version of her? The balance of her world teetered. How could she abandon the affluent path laid out before her? The question pushed against the burgeoning strength inside her. Did she possess the courage to challenge the familial narrative? On a rainy evening, when the streets shimmered with reflections of light, Ivy confided in Lily, "What if I show them our project? What if I leverage my connections to amplify our voice?" Lily's gaze bore into her, serious and piercing. "And what if they don't understand? What if they're more interested in your facade?" It was a precarious line Ivy treaded, rock solid and shifty all at once. But as they prepared for the prototype's unveiling, a collective sense of purpose transported both girls from fear to determination. They were ready to push boundaries, but standing on the precipice of their decisions, uncertainty loomed. Would Ivy breach her family's rigid expectations to forge a path of authenticity? With every intention set on proving herself, she faced the reality, not everyone would welcome change. That night, the streets felt alive with possibilities, yet a chilling gasp of dread echoed within Ivy as she stared into the depths of an uncertain future ahead, grappling with the very choices that could unravel everything she knew. The next move would require both clarity and courage. As the evening deepened, they stood on the brink, the world around them spiraling into chaos, sure of one thing only: the time for each girl to face their fears was quickly approaching. Ivy awoke with a tightened chest, the morning sunlight streaming through her window felt unwelcome. As the reality of her choices weighed heavily on her, she greeted the day not with excitement, but with trepidation. Today was crucial, today they would unveil their prototype. Yet a gnawing fear whispered the very same thoughts that had haunted her in the past. What if she failed? What if her family's expectations consumed her once more? The design sprawled across her coffee table, a testament to their late-night labor. Each sketch mirrored the merging of their backgrounds, a marriage between astute innovation and raw necessity. With every rush of ink, Ivy felt the shackles of her privilege shift. But today, facing the real world, she questioned if she could transpose that feeling into action. As she prepared, she practiced her pitch in the mirror. Her reflection bore a volatile mixture of privilege and purpose, yet the uncertainty remained percolating in her mind. Would her voice resonate, or would it be drowned by judgments from her upper-class sanctuary? She shook her head, pushing the doubts aside. Today was about the project, about Lily's vision. Arriving at the workshop, Ivy felt the air thrum with anticipation. Lily's enthusiasm was palpable, her eyes sparkling as they prepped the prototype. But Ivy noticed Lily's undercurrent of anxiety connecting them more than their vastly different lives. "Are you ready?" Lily asked, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted the design. I think so, Ivy replied, uncertainty creeping back in. Let us remember why we're doing this. It's about them. Not us, Lily reminded her, grounding their intentions. Ivy nodded, momentarily lost in Lily's unwavering resolve. That very ferocity seemed to ignite something deep within. As they set the project in motion, Ivy grappled with a realization. These were not just mechanical parts, they embodied stories of struggle, resilience, and triumph against the odds. It was a tribute to the marginalized, not her past. And yet, the echo of her family's expectations loomed. When the moment arrived, she stood before an audience of industry veterans, journalists, and investors. Their faces blurred together, a collective gaze feasting upon them, judging their worth. Lily took the lead, effortlessly shedding her nerves like old clothing. As she detailed the purifier's efficiency, Ivy felt her role slip into the background. The whispers of self-doubt returned. What if they dismissed her altogether? Yet, when it was Ivy's time to speak, everything shifted. She inhaled deeply, letting the moment wash over her. As she began to describe their journey, words flowed from her as if guided by a deeper purpose. This is not merely a machine, it symbolizes hope and empowerment. It's about access to clean water for everyone who has been overlooked, she declared, her voice steady despite the storm brewing in her gut. The impact was immediate. She caught glimpses of faces shifting from indifference to engagement. Questions began to arise, not about her status but about the future possibilities of their initiative. For the first time, Ivy experienced what it meant to bridge two worlds, the privileged and the marginalized, and how the fusion could create something transformative. With every question posed after the presentation, Ivy felt her courage solidifying. People wanted to connect, and they sought authenticity. Perhaps it was time to embrace this change not just for the project, but for herself. As the evening drew to a close, conversations blossomed around the room, drowning out the isolated whispers of her upbringing. Yet, as Ivy stepped away from the gathering, an unsettling thought loomed. Would she be able to sustain this newfound confidence when facing her family? The balance of her identity felt precarious and unpredictable. Tonight had pushed her boundaries, but would it break them? Clarity began to emerge, and with it came the urgent realization that she needed to confront her family soon before they could dismiss her path entirely. As Ivy looked back at Lily, who was engaged in animated discussions about potential collaborations, one thing became clear: there would be no turning back. The struggle to rise from the shadows of privilege awaited her, and soon, the moment would arrive when she must fully embrace her own evolution. But how would her family react when they saw the girl they once knew transformed? Would they understand the journey she now claimed as her own? The tension hung thick in the air, with Ivy standing at the very edge of daring to disrupt the legacy entangling her, ready to face whatever response awaited her. Ivy sat in her small apartment, staring blankly at the sketches that had once inspired her. The exhilaration of the presentation had morphed into a gnawing dread. The reality of confronting her family loomed larger than the triumph she had just experienced. There was an undeniable chasm between the Ivy who stood on that stage and the child molded by her family's expectations. A soft knock at the door broke her reverie. It was Lily, her usual vibrancy dimmed by concern. "I brought coffee," she said, holding out a steaming cup. "You look like you could use it." "Thanks," Ivy murmured as she took the cup, her mind filled with thoughts of what lay ahead. "Hey, after everything, you've got every right to feel overwhelmed," Lily reassured. "But you're not alone in this. You've built something incredible, and you deserve to stand by it." Standing by it. The phrase rang in Ivy's mind as she settled into a chair, taking a sip of the coffee. The warmth hit her senses, providing a brief comfort against the chill of uncertainty. "What's next?" Lily asked, brushing her curly hair back as she waited for an answer. "Next? I have to face my family," Ivy said slowly. "I can't keep pushing that off. I've spent so long trying to conform to their ideas of success that I forgot to figure out what success meant for me. Lily nodded, encouragement dancing in her eyes. Maybe this is a turning point. You're discovering your own ambitions. So, what do you really want? Not what they want. Ivy closed her eyes, visualizing the pressure from her upbringing, the extravagant holidays, high-profile events, and the endless comparisons to her older siblings. I want to make a difference, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I want to be part of something that changes lives. Then that's your foundation to stand on when you talk to them. They might not understand your path now, and that's okay. You just have to be firm in what you believe. The notion stirred something within Ivy. For the first time, she felt a flicker of determination mingling with her trepidation. She thought about how they had rejected her dreams before, labeling them impractical. Perhaps it was time to stand her ground, to approach her family not as a compliant daughter, but as an empowered woman. I need to prepare, she said suddenly, her tone shifting as she regarded Lily. I can't let them tear down everything I've built. This is my chance to rewrite the narrative. Lily's smile widened. That's the spirit. You have a vision, and you know the worth of what you're doing. Just be honest. They may surprise you. The prospect of preparing for a confrontation settled heavily on Ivy's shoulders. She often tried to smooth over family tensions, to keep everyone happy. But this time, she needed to lean into the discomfort. The idea invigorated her. She envisioned articulating not only her beliefs but her experiences and her growth as an individual. In the following days, Ivy committed herself to her preparation. Each morning, she would rise early to draft her thoughts. She practiced her delivery, refining her message about the importance of their initiative relative to her life's journey. She began to embrace those parts of herself that had faced dismissal before: her empathy, her enthusiasm for problem-solving, her understanding of social inequities. As the hours turned into days, the anticipation grew heavier. She was molding her points into shields against the expected critiques from her family. But would they fully grasp the transformation she had undergone? Would they see beyond their etched expectations? Ivy had arranged for a dinner with her family, a casual setting that felt deceptively familiar. Yet, in her heart, she knew it would be anything but casual. This decision to confront them marked her first step into her own destiny, and she felt the weight of expectations press against her chest once again. As the pivotal day approached, Ivy recognized that this confrontation could either fracture her relationship with her family or perhaps lay the necessary groundwork for understanding. The plan solidified in her mind, each thought sharpening her resolve. But what if they rejected not just her ideas but her very essence? That thought quaked beneath the surface no matter how hard she tried to suppress it. The moment she had both dreaded and longed for was coming. What would she do if that moment shattered her dreams? With these questions heavy on her heart, Ivy braced herself. She was about to embark on a confrontation that could redefine everything she thought she knew about love, loyalty, and identity. The clock was ticking, and the challenge awaited her. Would she emerge empowered, or would the remnants of expectations bind her once again? Ivy arrived at her parents' home, her heart pounding as she stood at the threshold. The familiar setting swallowed her in childhood memories, both inviting and daunting. She could hear laughter from within, a sound that used to fill her with ease but now ignited a familiar sense of anxiety. Each step toward the door was a battle between her long-held loyalty to her family's ideals and her emerging self-worth. As she crossed the threshold, a wave of warmth enveloped her. Her family's home was bustling with the sights and smells of a lavish meal. Her mother hovered over the stove, coordinating dishes with expertise, while her father and siblings filled the dining room with banter. Ivy forced a smile, suppressing the tension brewing in her stomach. "I'm home," she managed to say, her voice not quite matching the enthusiasm she hoped to convey. Her father glanced up, eyes crinkling in delight. "Ivy, come help out in the kitchen," he called, his positivity shining through. She nodded, moving toward her mother. As she assisted with plating, the questions danced around her mind. How would she approach the conversation about her aspirations? Would they even listen? What if all her preparation crumbled in the face of their expectations? Everything looks amazing, Mom, Ivy said, hoping to mask her inner turmoil. Why, thank you, sweetheart. It's your favorite dish, her mother replied, seemingly oblivious to her daughter's brewing internal conflict. The familiarity and routine of family dynamics felt suffocating yet oddly comforting. Dinner began, laughter and stories filled the air, and Ivy found it increasingly difficult to interject her thoughts amid the crescendo of banter. But as the conversation shifted toward professional achievements, her chance slipped closer. I've been working on some new initiatives, she said, a slight tremor to her voice cutting through the laughter. And how's that little project of yours going? Her eldest brother asked, the tone light but laced with underlying skepticism. Ivy caught her breath. Actually, it's more than just a little project, it's about creating meaningful change, she began. The words tumbled out, fueled by her recent resolve. She could feel the attention shifting, but doubt surged within her. What do you mean? Her mother asked, looking intrigued yet wary. I want to focus on social issues, to develop solutions that truly help people, Ivy explained, her heart racing. It's not just a passion for me, it's a calling. I think we can impact lives in a way that truly matters. Her father cocked his head, confusion flickered across his face. But Ivy, your work was always aligned with a more established path, something with stability and prestige. Why divert away from that? There are expectations. It cut through her like glass. She had braced for criticism, but the reminder of expectations sent her spiraling into the familiar vortex of familial pressure. How could she convey her growth without the fear of disappointing them? This was her pivotal moment, she couldn't let it slip away. I understand that, Dad, she continued, measuring her words, but I've been living for others, fulfilling expectations that don't reflect who I am. I need to explore my own definition of success. The room fell silent, reality hanging thick in the air. Her siblings exchanged looks, and Ivy could sense the challenge looming above her. Would they accept this version of her? Then her mother leaned forward, narrowing her eyes. Ivy, you've always been our little achiever. Why change what's working? Don't you worry about stability? With every eye on her, Ivy felt the challenge deepen. She had craved this recognition yet feared the rejection that accompanied it. She took a deep breath, recalling the sketches that had once filled her heart with hope, symbols of what could be. I can't fear the unknown anymore. I want to be brave enough to challenge the walls we've built around what success looks like. This journey matters to me. Her voice grew stronger, punctuated by a newfound conviction that took shape amidst the weight of their judgment. Her family remained still, the air charged with tension. Would they accept this declaration, or would Ivy's long-held insecurities bubble to the surface? The moment hung between hope and fear, tightening like a string on a bow. But her yearning for authenticity surged within her. Regardless of their reactions, she knew she was at a crucial fork in the road, one leading toward her truth, and the other back to their expectations. The question remained, how would they respond to the daughter they thought they knew? Would they embrace her transformation or push her further into the abyss of conformity? The dinner table, once a place of comfort, had transformed into the crucible of her awakening. And as the seconds stretched into eternity, Ivy braced for the possibility that one conversation could change everything. The silence hung heavy, amplifying Ivy's heartbeat. She watched as her father's face transitioned from confusion to something akin to disappointment, while her mother's concern deepened. Her siblings' eyes darted back and forth, taking in the charged atmosphere. This was not just a conversation, it was a reckoning. What if you're making a mistake, Ivy? Her father's voice broke through the stillness, laced with authority. We've worked hard to provide you with a foundation. You're throwing it away for what? A dream? The accusation stung, sharper than any criticism she had faced before. The familiar resentment bubbled beneath her skin, ignited by the unfairness of bearing the weight of familial expectations. It's not a mistake to follow my passion, Dad. You taught me that. You always said to strive for more than stability. This is about growth, not destruction. But stability pays the bills, Ivy, her brother chimed in, the skepticism resurfacing in his voice. You need to think realistically. You have a good job, many would kill for that. The suggestion that her aspirations were a naive fantasy ignited a fire within her. What does it mean to be successful? Ivy demanded, her voice barely holding back frustration. What about fulfillment? What about using the skills I've honed to make a difference? Stability alone isn't enough for me anymore. I want to create something meaningful. Creating is for artists, Ivy, her brother said dismissively, crossing his arms. Is that what you think I am? An artist who doesn't realize the world doesn't care about dreams? Ivy countered, feeling defensive yet compelled to defend herself. She saw her mother's eyes glisten as if they held unspoken words, and for a moment, the prospect of being truly seen encouraged Ivy's resolve. I'm not giving up what I have. I'm expanding it. I want to leverage my skills in a way that can truly foster change. The room fell into another silence, one that threatened to smother her spirit. In that silence, Ivy could feel the walls around her family tightening, bolstering their collective discomfort. She felt more deeply alone than ever before, yet amidst that loneliness, a flicker of determination sparked within her. The dinner continued with awkward small talk, the atmosphere palpably strained. Ivy's pulse quickened as she watched them grapple silently with her revelation, unsure of how to fathom the new identity she was forging. It terrified her as much as it buoyed her spirit. This transformation was significant, rife with complication. She felt exposed yet strangely empowered, as if she had opened a door into a world filled with possibility. After dinner, she excused herself, desperate for a moment of solitude. The backyard beckoned, illuminated by the soft glow of twinkling fairy lights strung across the porch. Here, in the stillness of the night, Ivy allowed herself to breathe deeply, taking in the crisp air and easing the knots of tension in her shoulders. But the uncertainty gnawed at her. She wanted her family's support, their understanding, but more than anything, she needed to embrace this path alone if necessary. Would they ever come to see her vision, or would they remain shackled by their perceptions? As she stared into the dark sky, the stars twinkled brightly, and an idea struck like lightning. What if this journey was not only about her breaking free, but also about helping them to understand? She could bridge the gap between her familial roots and her aspirations. The next step loomed before her, an outreach, an invitation to share her ideas in a way that resonated beyond her words. It was time for Ivy to take action, to prove her vision held substance beyond mere daydreams. She returned inside, resolved to reshape the dialogue with her family. But first, there was a pivotal step to face. The internal conflict still loomed, waiting for her to confront it head-on. Would her family embrace the new Ivy, or would they cast her aside, struggling to reconcile their expectations with her burgeoning passion? The impending confrontation lay ahead, a moment that could redefine not only her relationship with them but also her sense of self. The weight of the world rested on her shoulders, urging her forward into the unknown. Ivy squared her shoulders, steeling herself for the next crucial chapter in her journey. It was time she finally faced not just her family's expectations but also her own self-doubt. Would she be able to turn their skepticism into support, or would she be left to forge her path alone? The morning light seeped through Ivy's window, casting a warm hue over her room, a reminder of the fresh start she had yearned for. With a new resolve, she gathered her journal, a trusted companion, and settled at her desk. The pages had borne witness to her evolving thoughts, an amalgamation of dreams, fears, and strategies. Today, they would serve as more than just confessions, they would be a blueprint for her transformation. Ivy flipped to a fresh page, her pen poised. It felt like a ceremony, this act of writing. She began listing the ideas she wanted to share with her family, outlining the rationale behind her ambitions. An urban art project poised to enhance community spaces, workshops that merged creativity with skill-building, potential pathways she envisioned to bridge her aspirations and their concerns. With each word, her anxiety began to dissipate, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. Creating was not just for artists, it was about harnessing her talents to inspire others. She felt the weight of familial criticisms lessen, transforming into a fuel that propelled her forward. Yet, in the periphery of her thoughts lingered the fear of their rejection. Would they appreciate her vision, or would they dismiss it as yet another fleeting idea? Setting her pen down, Ivy leaned back, closing her eyes. She attempted to visualize that pivotal conversation, rehearsing different outcomes in her mind. Would her father's disappointment soften as he absorbed her passion? Would her brother's skepticism give way to curiosity? Each scenario played out like a film, culminating in a surge of adrenaline. She realized she was not simply fighting for acceptance, she was advocating for the person she was becoming. Moments later, an impulsive thought took hold. Why not involve her family directly in the process? Ivy could invite them to the first brainstorming session, turning the discussion from confrontation to collaboration. She envisioned her father's furrowed brow easing as he contributed, her brother's guarded expression transforming into intrigue. That decision marked a turning point. Ivy set a date for the meeting, feeling both exhilaration and trepidation buzzing in her core. She approached her family, the words tumbling out in breathless excitement. "Let us come together to brainstorm ideas for this project I'm passionate about. It's about the community, and I want you all to be part of it." They looked at her with a mix of surprise and curiosity, but Ivy received muted nods. The prospect of delaying any critique held a strange comfort. This was not just a personal ambition, but a collective endeavor. The day of the meeting arrived, and Ivy transformed her living room into a makeshift creative hub. Art supplies sprawled across tables, brainstorming notes were pinned to the walls, and a makeshift coffee bar buzzed with the smell of fresh brews. As her family trickled in, Ivy's pulse quickened. She took a deep breath, soaking in the moment, mentally reminding herself that this was a shared experience, not a trial. Talking through her vision, she framed her arguments not as challenges to their views but as invitations to join her journey. She illustrated the potential impact of their involvement not just on the community but on their family dynamic. "This could be a way for us to connect, to build something meaningful together," Ivy urged. To her delight, the energy shifted. Her mother picked up a brush, wanting to contribute. Her siblings began jotting down ideas, each one adding to the conversation, igniting a collective spark. Ivy felt pride surge within her. She was not alone, her passion could resonate, creating an echo of support she had craved. But every proposition met with excitement also gave rise to questions. Did she truly possess the requisite skills to drive such a project? What if her family's involvement was merely a distraction from the deeper issues they faced? They were grappling with their own doubts while trying to support her. As they brainstormed, Ivy caught her brother's eyes lingering on her, filled with a mix of admiration and lingering skepticism. In that moment, she understood the challenge ahead. This collaboration marked only the beginning of a longer journey to transform dreams into action while honing her own abilities to lead them forward. Ivy's heart raced with both apprehension and anticipation. She had initiated a conversation, but it was only the beginning of a newfound dialogue within her family. What she hadn't expected was the realization that fostering change would also mean confronting her own shortcomings, a test that could either solidify her resolve or threaten to unravel the very foundation she sought to build. As the brainstorming session continued, Ivy contemplated the possibility of resistance ahead. Would the energy they had generated be sustainable when faced with real challenges? The path she envisioned was fraught with complexity, and she braced herself for the inevitable hurdles. The clock ticked loudly in the background, reminding her that time was slipping away. Uncertainty loomed. What if they encountered deep-rooted disagreements in the future? The specter of frustration and misunderstanding gnawed at her. But Ivy pressed on, recognizing that this was her opportunity to shape not just the project but also her family's perception of her ambitions. It was time to prove to herself and to them that creation was about continuous evolution, and every setback would merely be a chance for growth. With every idea proposed and challenge met, Ivy's resolve solidified. Yet, the looming question followed her like a shadow: could her family continue to adapt alongside her as she navigated this complex landscape? She glanced at her siblings, wondering if they were truly ready for the journey ahead. The weight of unfulfilled potential pressed heavily, urging her toward the next chapter, a defining moment where ambition and artistry would be put to the test. Would they be able to forge a path together, or would each individual struggle to find their place in this shared dream? The urgency clawed at her, raising the stakes for the upcoming confrontation that held the key to her future. Ivy awoke the next morning with a sense of impending change hanging in the air. Sleep had eluded her, but the echoes of the brainstorming session filled her thoughts, propelling her towards a new day. There was clarity amidst the chaos, a thread connecting her ambitions to the reality of her family's involvement. Although excitement coursed through her veins, she recognized the gravity of what lay ahead. She prepared breakfast, her hands moving mechanically while her mind raced. Thoughts of her family's contributions flashed vividly, every hesitant suggestion, every spark of creativity. But the excitement was closely intertwined with apprehension. What if their eagerness turned to discontent when faced with the realities of execution? Would they trust her vision enough to remain committed? Sitting alone with her coffee, she turned her attention to her journal, flipping through her notes filled with ideas and dreams. Each line felt charged with potential, yet uncertainty loomed in the margins. She had invited her family to create together, but leading this diverse group would invoke challenges she had yet to truly understand. The risks involved in steering the project toward fruition began to materialize as she considered how to harmonize everyone's contributions. Determined to hone her leadership skills, Ivy made a plan to focus on cultivating a solid structure for their collaboration. The first step was to clarify roles and responsibilities. She envisioned a chart with each family member assigned a specific function based on their strengths: her mother as the artistic guide, her brother handling logistics, and herself as the overall coordinator. Creating this framework would not only manage expectations but also empower them, allowing everyone to flourish in their designated area. The idea gave Ivy a jolt of confidence, and she reached for her phone, excited to pull her family back into the fold. "How about we meet again to discuss our roles?" She texted them, her determination throbbing within her. Moments later, her phone chimed with replies. Each one conveyed enthusiasm, settling her fear that her idea was merely a flash in the pan. They were bought into the project. This was a dynamic that would manifest their unity. Yet there remained a knot of nerves in Ivy's stomach, teasing her with the weight of potential failure. As the next meeting approached, Ivy focused on preparing herself. She began researching effective collaboration techniques and leadership styles, diving deeply into literature about group dynamics. She spent hours reading through articles, soaking in knowledge to equip herself for this new role, determined to bring out the best in her family. But as the information piled up, so did her doubts. Did she possess the innate ability to lead others? Would her passion be enough to carry them through inevitable conflicts? The pressure of having to navigate interpersonal tensions while maintaining momentum gnawed at her. She knew that effective leadership demanded more than enthusiasm; it called for composed decision-making under duress. Ivy flipped through her journal again, stopping on a blank page where she had written affirmations for herself. "I am capable. I will learn. I can inspire." She realized that, while self-doubt might accompany her journey, embracing vulnerability allowed room for growth. With every challenge, she would reveal hidden competencies and learn to adapt her strategies in real time. By the time the calendar marked their next meeting, Ivy was equipped, though still anxious. She adorned the living room with fresh ideas, displaying their individual roles prominently for everyone to see. As they gathered, she felt the energy shift, a mix of anticipation and unease echoing within the walls. She was about to take the helm of a creation that could elevate all of them or expose the fissures within their relationships. Ivy squared her shoulders, a visual cue for herself to stand tall against the tide of uncertainty. The stakes had shifted dramatically from mere brainstorming to the challenge of cohesion and execution. Gathering her breath, Ivy began the session with a bright smile, but behind it lay a flicker of doubt. Facing her family, she felt the weight of their gaze. It was as if she stood on the edge of a precipice, acutely aware of what could be lost if she faltered. "And now," she declared, enthusiasm tempered with resolve, "let us turn our ideas into actions." In that moment, the dual tension of anticipation and fear gripped her. The fragile thread of unity would be tested, and she would soon discover if their bond could withstand the complexity of personal ambitions. Ivy could feel the ground shift beneath her. She was poised at the brink of potentially transformative confrontations, and the future beckoned fiercely. Would Ivy emerge as a strong leader, or would she stumble, scattering the fledgling dream? The moment of truth fluttered in the air, sending ripples of uncertainty deep into her heart just waiting to unfold. Ivy stood at the center of her living room, gripping her notes tightly as her family settled into their seats. The atmosphere buzzed with mingled excitement and tension, an electric charge that mirrored the inner turmoil swirling within her. This meeting was no longer just about sharing ideas, it was about solidifying her resolve and leading her family into uncharted territory. She felt the stakes rise, and every breath she took echoed with the weight of her determination. "Thank you all for coming back together," Ivy began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I know we all care about this project and the impact it can make. Today, I want to establish our roles and set clear goals to guide our efforts moving forward." As she spoke, Ivy noticed her family's faces shifting from curiosity to understanding. This was the moment she had strategically envisioned, a point where they could coalesce around a shared purpose. Her mother nodded and made notes, her brother ran through ideas with a spark of engagement, and her father observed with a contemplative expression. Ivy introduced the concept of defining each person's contributions based on their strengths. Her mother would lead the creative aspects, choosing a visual voice that resonated with the community they aimed to serve. Her brother, ever the logistical mastermind, would tackle practical implementation. And Ivy, the architect of their ideas, would oversee the integration, fostering collaboration among them. As she detailed the structure, Ivy felt the weight of her insecurities dissipate, transforming into a burgeoning sense of clarity. This framework was vital. Not only did it provide direction, but it also invited her family to own their parts in the vision. She could see the flicker of enthusiasm return to their eyes. This was no longer just her endeavor, it was theirs, too. "Now that we've established our roles," Ivy continued, "let us discuss our shared goals. This project isn't merely a way to showcase our individual talents, it's about crafting a meaningful impact within our community and supporting one another through this journey." The conversation flowed naturally as they brainstormed a timeline, milestones, and actionable steps. Encouraged by Ivy's leadership, her family dynamically shifted their perspectives, actively engaging with her vision. Her mother proposed colorful designs that could make the installation relatable to people in their community. Her brother talked logistics, suggesting resources they could tap into, and soon their initial ideas morphed into tangible plans of action. Yet, amid this surge of collaboration, Ivy paused to consider the other side of teamwork: disagreements. Would they remain united when faced with challenges? How would they navigate obstacles that might test both their collective resolve and individual relationships? With every stroke of progress came the shadows of doubt, whispering their fears into her mind. But Ivy silenced those doubts, reminding herself of the growth she had already undergone. There was no place for hesitation now. Each challenge would be an opportunity, not a setback. The lessons she learned alongside Lily had built resilience and fostered her courage, and she knew she could channel that energy into guiding her family forward. As days turned into weeks, the project advanced, taking on a life of its own. Ivy maintained regular check-ins with her family, ensuring every voice echoed within their plans. They faced hurdles together: challenges with resources, differing opinions on design choices, but each obstacle served only to solidify their bond. Ivy guided the discussions, cultivating a space where every member could contribute without fear of judgment. The experience of weaving their distinct perspectives into a coherent vision turned into an essential lesson for Ivy. She was transforming not just as a leader but as a sister and daughter. Moments of levity and frustration mingled seamlessly, revealing the deeper facets of their relationships. Slowly, the rigid expectations of the past began to dissolve, replaced by earnest collaboration, respect, and shared aspirations. Finally, the day arrived when their vision would be brought to life, a community installation meant to inspire and connect. Standing in front of the finished project, Ivy felt a surge of pride wash over her. It wasn't merely an achievement to demonstrate her capability, but manifesting her commitment to her family's collective growth and the community's well-being. She watched as families marveled at their work, laughter filling the space and joy radiating from everyone who engaged with the installation. Ivy's heart swelled, knowing this project had not only woven her family's story into the fabric of their community but had created a bridge between her past and the woman she had become. In that moment, Ivy understood that her journey wasn't strictly about individual triumphs but anchoring together, embracing vulnerability, and nurturing connections that rendered true transformation possible. They had turned the obstacles of uncertainty and familial expectations into a beacon of hope. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Ivy looked around at the faces of her family glowing with pride. Here stood the testament to their collective journey, a declaration that they could confront challenges not just as individuals but as a united front. Ivy felt an undeniable sense of accomplishment surge within her, an unwavering confidence that would propel her forward in any endeavor she undertook. The realization swept over her: she had not only defined success in her own terms but had also reclaimed her identity amid the expectations that had once suffocated her spirit. They had forged something significant, a legacy intertwined with integrity and purpose, marking a transformative moment in their lives. Now, as Ivy stood firmly on the ground that she had fought to shape, the echoes of her past began to fade into the background. The future ahead promised further challenges, but she felt fully equipped to face them head-on. Ivy's journey was only beginning, but she had established an essential foundation, one built on authenticity, collaboration, and self-acceptance. In that moment of clarity, with all that they had achieved, she knew it was time for her to step into the world boldly. She had discovered not just a voice but a legacy that could echo through generations, reminding her that dreams were worth pursuing, and worth sharing with those who mattered most. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. This is the moment to show your support and help us share stories of transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your voice matters, and only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending.